You know what the problem is? I think that money is so quantifiable. If you think about it, it's a fucking number. Like it doesn't get more quantifiable. So it's so easy to benchmark it as a metric. Like how much do you make? 300,000
Mhm.
or like 500,000 or 1 million. Oh, wow, he's very successful. But you cannot really quantify quality of life. Can you quantify like happiness? Like what is happiness at the end of the day? Like I think that's why people get so hooked on this thing because it's easy to measure it. I must be doing something right. I am successful. Whereas in reality, like life is so much more than that specific number. There's so many. At the end of the day, there's only one aspect of your life.
Hello, everyone. This is Prashant, and I'll be your host for the ChoubeySahab Podcast. And today we have Alex West with us. Alex, as his Twitter bio says, is unemployed, but is currently making around $300,000 every year from his solo business, Cyber Leads. And he's also on a personal mission to take his business to 1 million annual recurring revenue while traveling the world. Alex, I'm so glad to have you here on the podcast today. How are you doing?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really, really good, and I'm looking forward to having a nice little chat. Last time we spoke, I think it was a year ago. Many things have changed, but we will get into everything. So let's do it.
Exactly. The last time we spoke, it was not exactly a year back, somewhat lesser than 1 year back. But how fast things have changed, especially in your case. You were at around, I believe, 3.5K MRR at that point when we talked. And now you are sitting at 20K MRR, I suppose, right?
No, 30 something, 30.
Or more.
Yeah, but that's the way.
Okay, so
And that is like a pattern
yeah.
that I see. Like it goes slowly and then boom, it explodes. And then it goes slowly and then
Yeah.
boom, and it explodes.
Exactly.
And that's how it was before. Like even that last year, that 3.5 for me, that was insane. I was living the dream. 3.5 was a crazy number for me because before that, I was stuck at 200 and 300 per month. So it's always like that. It goes slowly and then it explodes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was looking at your website for doing a little bit of research for the episode, and I saw this a very interesting time machine kind of a feature on your website, wherein you can actually select your previous years, go back to them, and see what you were up to at those years. And you also have a specific number mentioned that at this year I was making this much every month, and so on, right? So about 4 years back, you're making $50 a month. Then you made about $100 or $200 a month, and fast forward to now, you're making over 30K every month. All right. So let's talk about your story straight away. How did you get started? From where did you get started, and to where you have come till now? Tell us the story.
Okay, how back do you want to go? Like, do you want to get boring or do you want to go straight into building products and stuff?
You can give a slight background of from where you started and then jump into the interesting stuff.
Okay, let's say that I was studying computer science, even though I fucking hated it at first. I was crying my father. I was calling my father crying. I hate this. I don't like this. Until I realized that actually this is really creative. Like you can build anything. And since then, I wanted to build like the next Facebook, the next Instagram, like very basic stuff, very cliche. You want to build the next billion-dollar company. So I was trying to do that, and I joined a startup accelerator. Those things where you go and you try to raise money, and there's like a community of founders. And I remember vividly being in a place where so many people were talking about raising money, and no one was making a dollar. And that always was weird to me because, since the beginning of time, since the first time a trade was made between two apes, businesses run on profits and not on valuations and raising money and all that. That did not make sense to me. And I remember stumbling upon two videos on YouTube. One was from Peter Levels, and one was from DHH, the founder of Basecamp. and Ruby on Rails. And both of them were talking like, okay,
Yeah.
you don't have to become a $1 billion company. You don't have to become a billionaire. You can be happy being a humble little millionaire. Since that day, I was like, of course, I don't need to become a billionaire or anything like that. I just want to make some money and live my life. And since the 1st of January 2018, this has been my life. And when I say my life, I mean it. I wake up, I work, I think about work all day. Even now that I just came back from the beach in the sea swimming, I still think about tech businesses. Like, I've been living this thing nonstop since 2018, and it's only now that it started to pay off.
Yeah, that sounds great. And it reminds me of a recent tweet that you made that I don't want to disrupt any market. I don't want $1 billion. I just want to help people and just make my money. That's it. That's all I want. And that's such a great perspective, right?
Yeah.
Also, talking about cyber leads, this fairly successful business that you've now built, how did you stumble upon this idea of cyber leads that you can actually earn money by giving people or business people these leads?
Yeah.
And how did you grow the business over the years?
Well, first of all, I will disappoint you because the story is super boring. It's not like I was walking down Venice Beach and I was looking at the stars, smoking, and I thought of this idea. It was boring as hell. I was at home and I was looking for ideas because I was stuck for so long trying to find something that works. I had built 19 products, and my success was around, I don't know, I reached $100 per month, which is not enough to live in Greece where I lived back then, and pretty much anywhere, I think. So I started working full time, and I hated my job. I did not like it, and I felt trapped. And this was the first time that I worked like full time, proper. You go to the office in the morning, and you do your 9 to 5, and you come back home. And I remember waking up, and it was still dark outside. I would come back home, and it would be again dark outside because it was winter and the days are short. Like, fuck this! I don't care about, because before that, the products I was building, man, they were all like really, really cool products. Products that you can say at a party or someone you met, and they'll say, "Wow, man, that is super cool." But those don't make money usually. That's the bad thing. The boring things make money. And once I started working full time, I was like, okay, fuck this. I'm going to do something boring that makes money. And instead of changing the world and trying to do all these cool stuff, let me change my world first. Then I can worry about the rest of the world. So what happened was I was on Reddit looking. I instead of going from idea to product to trying to find someone to sell it, I went the other way around. I went market first. So I said, instead of thinking of an idea and then trying to find where the market is and try to find them, I said, okay, I'm going to pick markets that are healthy and I'm going to look for ideas there. And what I mean by saying healthy market, it's more or less three things. Number one, it has many, many players making millions of dollars. It could not be even millions because maybe you don't want to make millions. Maybe you just want to make 2K per month, and that is absolutely fine. But it has many players making money. Okay, you don't want to go in a market where there's one big player. Like you want to build a search engine. Good luck. You want to go into a market where there are many, many players doing the same thing and they're all making money. That is perfect. Number two, you want to go into a market where there's something that you can build. Okay. And number three, something that you can promote as well. Because it's not just about building it, it's about getting customers again and again and again. They might sound overly simplistic, but it's just building a product and showing it to people again and again all the time, and maybe some of them will buy, and that's the game. So I had two markets in my mind: cybersecurity and lead generation. I had spotted those markets because I had seen many, many players making a lot of money, and they were all doing similar things. So I was on Reddit on some subreddits for cybersecurity, and I saw this post that said companies that raised money in, I don't know, when was that? Probably February 2020, probably, or January 2020, something like that, 2.5 years ago. And everyone was commenting below, I want this list, send it to me, please send it to me. I want to upvote. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. So I look into it, man, and I see so many people selling this same data in different ways, and they're all making money. So one of them was selling this data as a platform where you sign in and you export leads and stuff like that. Another one was selling this data of recently funded startups as a business intelligence platform. Another one was sending it as a report. Another one as a newsletter. Another one as you name it. It was different ways and to different people. Some of them were selling it to journalists, others to companies, others to sales teams, others to many different people. So I saw this, and just to cut a long story short, I saw it. I said, you know what? I have a full-time job. I don't have time to code. At the time, I had started falling out of love with coding because I was programming all day at my job and didn't want to code. I said, okay, newsletter requires no coding, and I can launch in a day. I don't even have to build anything. I can just launch, and if people sign up, I'll create the list. And that's what happened. I just launched with a newsletter after seeing that idea on Reddit, and I just kept going slowly and slowly growing.
That's really interesting that you were actually someone who knew how to code, but were kind of fed off of coding and went the other way and started a business without using any code, the no code way, which now we call it, right? And there is a big part of people who want to start a business, but they stop themselves by saying that, okay, I don't know how to code, I don't know how to build a product. But no code is the solution to that excuse, right? What do you say about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, many people and many people are butthurt, and they feel like just because they spent 5 years coding that that is bullshit. Like if you really want to do work, you have to code. No code is not good. No code is unbelievable. It's the future, no doubt. If whenever someone comes to me and he says, I want to build X, Y, or Z, if they have not studied computer science, I say just learn no code. That's it. And I even did it for myself, even though I could code. Why code? I mean, this fascination with talking about programming languages, frameworks, technologies, it's like painters arguing about brushes and which one is the best. Like, okay, it doesn't really matter. What matters is for you to paint, make something, create something, whether you make it with code or without code.
Exactly. And nobody really cares about what are the tools or the skills that are going behind it. Everyone cares about the work that you're putting out there.
Yeah.
Right. So whether you're coding it or whether you're building it, hacking some different tools and making a product out of it, the sole thing that you should care about is that it is creating value for people. That is, right?
Absolutely. No one cares. Like, when was the last time you went on a website and you were like, okay, what is this built with? Who cares? It's irrelevant. So just use what is easier for you to use. And at the time, I was so sick and tired of coding that I just said, just no code. Now, full disclosure, now I'm using code, but the reason I went into code, that was 2 years later. It was when I went full time, and I only did it because I wanted to do something very specific that some no code tools could not do. But no code is the way to go. Absolutely. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I feel that no code should be the starting point of every product that you're trying to build, regardless of what you're trying to build,
Yes.
regardless of what is the market, regardless of the skills you have, regardless of the funding you have, regardless of all the resources. When you're starting out, you're just testing out your hypothesis. Is this going to work or not? Is this something that people want or not? And for that, to put in the minimum amount of effort and put out something and get feedback on that, that is what no code allows you to do, right?
Absolutely. I think exactly like you said, every product as long as it can be built with no code, and let's face it, like we're not building rockets, we're building websites. You can build it with no code. Everyone should start with no code, in my opinion. And when you're making money, okay, that's another problem. But by that point, it's a nice problem to have.
I agree. And so this is the tool that you build. Not a tool, but kind of a service, cyber leads, giving out leads. So how did you grow this over the years? You say that, okay, this compounded over the years, 3 to 4 to 5 years. But what have your efforts been like through these years?
Yeah, that's a good question, because many times, we say, oh yeah, and I launched and here I am today, but it's not like that. And usually what happens is you launch, and for me, this was weird. Have you seen that cartoon animation called Finding Nemo with a fish? Have you seen that?
I haven't. I've seen videos of it, parts of it, not the entire.
Anyway, there's a scene in the end where
but I know what it is.
They jump into the water in plastic bags. And anyway, so they jump into the water and they say, okay, now what? Because they're stuck. And that was like the feeling of, okay, now I launch. Okay, because usually our time horizon is very short. So we have this idea of a product, and we look very closely, very up close. We're thinking about the features, we're thinking about the programming language, we're thinking about where I'm going to launch, and that's as far as we go. I'm going to build it, I'm going to launch it on X platform, and then it will go viral and everyone will use it. Like, that is more or less how everyone is thinking, which is completely wrong. Because you have to find a way to get customers again and again and again and again and again every week, every day, because customers don't stay forever. And if you could launch every day, it would be fantastic. Everyone would be rich if you could launch every day on Product Hunt or all those places, but you cannot. So when I launched on Product Hunt, I had that moment, like, okay, now what? I launched, I got a few customers, which was a first for me. I went from 2 years of being stuck at around 100 to 200 per month to boom, I'm at 200 per month with a new product in one day. So for me, that was insane, like literally insanity. I was like, okay, this is my idea. I'm going to give this everything I have. But I didn't know what to do because I just launched, and now what? Crickets. People started canceling, unsubscribing, and I went from 200, I remember, down to 100 and even below 80. And I was like, okay, number 20 is also going to be a failure. Like, I have to make this fucking thing work. I have to make it work. So I tried everything. I tried LinkedIn. I tried cold emails. I tried Reddit. I tried Quora. I tried reaching out to influencers on YouTube. I tried Twitter. I tried, you name it. I don't even remember, but I tried it. Literally everything. I read this one book, which is a strong recommendation, which is called Traction. I think we've talked about this. Maybe we've talked about this book. And I picked all of them
last time.
Yeah. Okay, I remember. Yeah, we did. So I picked all of these, man, and I just went through every single one of them, and I said, okay, I'm going to do every single one. And the book says one thing very clearly. It says, try everything, and when you find the one that works, drop everything else and focus on that 1,000%. So what I did was I tried everything, and then one day, completely randomly, I was doing all of those things, and one of my tweets went viral. And at the time, I didn't have any followers, I didn't have anything. And it just went viral, and I got like 10 customers. I'm like, oh shit, okay, this is it. I cannot go viral every day, of course, but this is a place where I can fish for customers. So I dropped everything and I focused on Twitter 1000%, writing my blog post, tweeting, and not tweeting like selling my business, just like sharing the journey. And then it got shared on Hacker News, that went viral again, and I had a bit of traction from there. So yeah, it's not really good advice because what I cannot say, yeah, try to go viral. But what I will say is that you never know what's going to work, and try everything. And once you find something, stick to it.
Yeah, that's very crisp, and I love how you talked about the lows and how the graph went down and up again. So this is something that is at the back of the story that often gets hidden once you reach a stage when you are making a certain amount of money on a recurring basis. But this is something that needs to be highlighted, that these things are the things that you need to go through to be able to get to that stage, because failure is a part of success. You get failure first, and then you get to success. It's no way skipping failure, right? Great.
Absolutely.
Now I want to talk to you about this concept that you often talk about, and you mention it on your website as well: financial freedom. What is financial freedom in your opinion, and at what stage do you think you will achieve financial freedom?
I love that question because it puts a mirror in front of my face to look at myself and say, because if you go, you were saying before with the time travel on my website. So whoever's listening and don't know what the hell we're talking about, on my personal website, which is alexwest.co.co, I have like a little time traveling thing at the top where you can see like my little bio throughout the years. And you will notice that in 2018, when I started this journey, what we were talking about, my goal was $500 per month, and that was it. Because my full-time job in Greece paid me $500 per month. So my goal was, okay, I was being paid by that asshole sorry, $500 per month to work full time for him. If I could make that money doing my own thing, I am a happy man. I don't want anything else, honestly. Like I have made it, and that is true. Like you are successful. So that was my goal. However, what is so interesting is that I'm sure everyone has felt this thing when you say, "When I have that, I will be happy." Okay, and you have that, and you say, "No, no, no, no. I meant when I have that, I'll be happy, but this time I mean it." And then that happens. I say, "No, no, no. This time I really mean it. This is the last thing I want. After that, I'll be happy." And this keeps going and going and going. And if you go, I'm not proud of this. I'm actually embarrassed by this. But if you go through the timeline, you see that it grows. It was 500, my goal. Then my goal was 800 for some reason. I don't know why. And then now I'm making, I don't know how much I'm making, and I'm still chasing like $1 million per year. Why am I chasing $1 million per year? I don't know. Is it a good goal? No. I am financially free. To answer your question, and I'm thinking out loud, that's why I'm not as clear as I would like to be. For me, financial freedom is, of course, living your life, having enough money to not think about money. So I want to make money because I hate money and I don't want to think about money. I don't want to think about bills. I don't want to think about rent. I don't want to think about my mother ending up in the hospital. I don't want to think about any of those things stressing me out. Okay. What I want is to never think about money. I don't want to think about money at the supermarket. How much does that nice steak cost, or those vegetables, how much they cost, stuff like that. So my definition of financial freedom is living as if money does not exist. And last year, I was living my ideal lifestyle, like perfect. I'm by the sea, I swim every day, come back home with my girlfriend, learning languages, living my life, traveling the world. I'm young, I'm healthy, I have my own business. Everything is perfect. However, I wasn't spending a lot of money, and I was living as if there wasn't any money. Like, honestly, if I was making $1 million per year, I would live exactly the same way as I'm living now. So I am financially free. The problem is that you start this journey for financial freedom, but somewhere down the line, it stops becoming a vehicle for financial freedom because you've got that. Somewhere along the line, you fall in love with the game because it becomes a vehicle for self-improvement. So along this way of building a business, I've been able to become better at managing stress. I have to work out to manage my stress better. I have to learn how to communicate with people. I have to learn how to write well. I have to learn so many things that it has stopped becoming, I don't want to reach 1 million per year so much for financial freedom. I'm already free. But I'm so in love with this game. And I hope I answered your question. I don't know.
Absolutely, you more than answered my question, and that's such an amazing take that I have exceeded my goal for what I want to achieve because I think that I can better myself. I can get a better version of myself to achieve that goal, a higher goal. And that's such an amazing take that I'm not in it for the money. I'm in it for the thrill. I'm in it for the game, right? And I'm in it to make myself the best version of myself, right?
What was your goal,
Absolutely.
if I can ask?
For me, I have two goals. One is obviously financial freedom that you talk about, and the other is having a higher purpose in life and doing something that is good for the world in general, for which I don't charge anything. Okay,
Yes.
so like let's talk about writing, right? I write blogs every day, so those are just my personal blogs where I'm just documenting my learnings, and I know that you are also someone who does that on an everyday basis. You've been writing every day for a long time, so these are the kind of things that I do on an everyday basis, which are connected to that purpose that I'm trying to help people by whatever I'm learning. I'm just sharing that in the form of blogs. I also make vlogs every day. I'm doing this podcast. I don't charge anything from anyone for doing this podcast, but I'm going to put across the learnings that I'm going to get from you out into the world so that others can also benefit from it. Right. So working towards a purpose, one thing, and working for financial freedom, another thing. So these are the two streams I like to follow. Yeah. And also, let's, since we touched upon the writing part, why do you do that writing every day? I get asked that question often, so I'm going to ask that to you. Why did you start writing every day? One. Number two, what are the benefits that you've gotten from writing every day, this writing habit?
Yeah, I started writing because I was afraid that. Um, Let me rewind back. So at the end of 2019, just before 2020, just a few months before I find Cyberlease and what all that story we were talking about, I had failed like with 19 products, and I felt like a complete loser, no joke. And I went there, and I was afraid that I would start working and I would forget about everything, like all those projects and stuff like that. That would be like a distant memory in my mind, like, oh yeah, back in the day when you used to make side projects, like very cute. uh, and I was determined, like, man, I'm gonna make this work. Okay, I don't want to live my life doing 9 to 5, which is nothing wrong, especially if you're working remotely. It can be fantastic, but I did not want that. I'm gonna make this work. And I sat down and I wrote everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything I had learned through building 19 products. Actually, it was 17 at the time. And after doing that, I felt so amazing. I was like, wow, everything is so clear now. Man, it was, you know how you clean your room? Writing is like cleaning your room, but for your mind. So everything was so clear and in front of me. I'm like, okay, these are my learnings from 19 failed products. Uh, and I said, okay, if I can continue doing this and cleaning up my mind every day, I will be unstoppable. Like, there's no way. And I started writing every day. And in the beginning, I did daily and weekly and monthly. Now I do daily and monthly, but sometimes I skip. But I don't know about you, and I would love to hear about you as well. But for me, it's like cleaning my mind, number one. And number two, it's kind of cool. Like today, what's the day? It's the 20th of May, okay, 2022. I can go back and read what I was thinking 2 years ago. And that is really cool. And extrapolate that into the future when I'm 60, because this will be available if I back it up somewhere. I'll be able to just go back and read about it. I think that's super cool.
Exactly. That's super cool. And all the reasons that you mentioned are my reasons as well. That when I grow, I'm an old person. I will have something to show my grandkids that, okay, I've documented my entire life in these blogs. You can just go read them. And I don't know how far away will I be there with you, but these blogs are going to stay there. So always feel free to refer to them. And these all my blogs are actually searchable. So I put a search bar on my blogs. So if you want to search regarding any topic, whether it's productivity, whether it's life, whether it's business, you can just search that term and all those blogs will show up. And it's just mind blowing. So whenever I am stuck myself, I go to my own blog sometimes, type that word that, okay, I'm facing some mental health issues. How do I fix that? Just mental health, I search it there. I have all these blogs laid out that these are the solutions that I have documented myself. Okay, so it's better that I use the same learning. So that's one reason. And the main reason for me to start writing every day was kind of funny, which I have shared in my pinned thread on Twitter. The reason why I started writing every day was to impress a crush that I had on a girl in my school. So that was the reason why I started. But I started probably for weird reasons, but I kept going for the right reasons because I saw that there was better clarity of thought and I was documenting everything. And it got me a lot of opportunities, the best part. All the One interesting fact about myself is that I've never applied for a job ever. All the job offers that I've gotten are upfront from founders directly contacting me and giving me offers, right? So this is what this daily blog has done for me, that they see that this person can be committed for so long. I've been doing it for close to 1,500 days now. So if a person can stay committed to writing every day for so long, regardless of the quality, regardless of what he's writing, if someone can stay committed for so long, he's worth the shot, right?
No skipping days. You haven't skipped any days.
Not a single day. Not a single day.
Wow, no way. I skipped too many days. And just to say something, by the way, because I was just thinking in my mind now, like that I don't want to. I don't want to sound like humble bragging or something like that, and that the bad days are over. Now everything is easy, and I have my daily blog, and I have my business, and everything is running.
Yeah.
Right now, my quality of life has decreased from last year. Even though I'm making like 6 times the money I was making last year, my quality of life is down because I've taken so much new work, and more is not always better. And I just wanted to point that out in this podcast that I'm not here to say that I succeeded and the struggle and the old days. Like, no, I'm struggling even now. It's freaking hard and it's difficult and I'm stressed and there are many days where I want to quit. But you just carry on and doing it. Just a little side note. Just wanted to point it out.
Yeah. This is very important because probably the title of this episode is going to have that number 300,000 somewhere, and you're going to think that, okay, this is a successful person living a great life talking, but something that is often hidden, that regardless of the amount of money you're making, you have your own struggles, and sometimes the more money you make, the more struggles you have, right? And the other day I was talking to Daniel Vassallo, who's a fellow prolific creator. He has a lot of courses and on Twitter as well. I just recorded an episode with him as well. So this is what he was talking about, that I can make a lot more money than I am making right now, but then it will decrease the quality of my life.
Yes.
So I have left money on the table. I've literally left money on the table. I'm not taking on lucrative opportunities because I want to keep the quality of my life. And what I'm making right now is enough for me. So he's saying that I'm going to go on a 6-month holiday this year because I think that I've made enough money for this year. I don't want to make any more. I'm going to go on a holiday for six months. So he says that all I'm optimizing for is quality of life. And when people just stick to this one metric, that money is the only thing that matters, you only want to scale that one thing, make that graph go upwards all the time, then you forget a lot of things that are more important in life. Your family, going on holidays, having those fun moments with your kids, all those things, right? And it's important to have that in focus. So I'll just quickly plug what he said, the approach that we should be taking. I would like to share that with you. So he said that we should be working hard until the point we have a decent cushion, right? Maybe working a job or something to get to that cushion level, wherein you can start taking some risks and doing something that you love, right? And then you take the plunge and start a business or something of that sort. In the initial days, you take on any clients or any customers that you get feedback, grow the business to a certain level. But after that level, be selective of what kind of clients you're taking on, what kind of business. Are they making your life easier or not? Sometimes you will need to leave money on the table to keep your sanity, right? Because some customers will always be budging you. Okay, this is wrong, that is wrong. So you can just let them go and always optimize for peace. So this is the approach that he suggested.
Absolutely, I love that,
Yeah.
and
So
Daniel is a big inspiration to me, and I agree with everything you said it perfectly. Like, number one, that you know what the problem is. I think that money is so quantifiable. If you think about it, it's a fucking number. Like, it doesn't get more quantifiable, so it's so easy to benchmark it as a metric. Like, how much do you make? 300,000, or like 500,000, or 1 million? Oh wow, he's very successful. But you cannot really quantify quality of life. Can you quantify like happiness? Like what is happiness at the end of the day? Like, I think that's why people get so hooked on this thing, because it's easy to measure it. I must be doing something right. I am successful. Whereas in reality, like, life is so much more than that specific number. There's so many. At the end of the day, there's only one aspect of your life. Like, you can still be awkward. You can I'm sure there are many people that are ultra successful, like making tens of millions of dollars, and they're still awkward around women. They still cannot communicate and talk about anything else other than business. They have a terrible relationship with the kids, or just mediocre. And it doesn't have to be like extremes, like, oh, look at this rich person, he has a terrible personal life, like some celebrities. It can be, why not just be good at everything and have enough money, instead of just optimizing for a lot of money? Like, I think there's so many aspects of your life that you can develop, that if you are so focused on your business, you won't have time for anything else, and it's sad.
exactly. And this is the thing that I love about your own mission statement, that you say that, okay, I want to make $1 million, but while traveling the world, right? You have attached an experience to it, that I'm going to be traveling the world, having fun while building a business. Let's talk about traveling. Why do you travel? What all places do you go to? And what fun do you have?
I love that question. Why do you travel? Okay, you like writing. You probably like reading as well, right? So when you read a book, right, and you turn a page, and usually you just turn a page and it's the next page, but sometimes you turn the page and it's a new chapter. You know that feeling when you change a page and it's a new chapter, like a new beginning, like a new thing,
Right.
or the first page of a book. That feeling I get when I travel, it's like a new chapter. It like changed again, and I love that. That's number one. I'm addicted to that feeling. I like familiarity as a feeling, but my favorite is new things. Like, everything is weird when you see it the first time. Then you see it after 1 year, and you say, "Okay, I used to view this street in a very different way." For example, that's one thing, and the other thing is that, you know. Again, I don't want to sound cheesy or corny or anything like that, but life is 4,000 weeks long. That's your life. It's 4,000 weeks. And it's insultingly small if you waste it. Or, as Seneca says, it's not that life is short, it's just that life is wasted. And I'm sure we've all faced this when we were back in school. Like, the first year of primary school was a whole chapter of your life. The second year of primary school was another whole chapter. The summer was endless. Like, the years were so long. And then you hit 21, 22, and then they start going really fast. And it gets faster and faster. Like, if you ask your grandma or your grandfather, the years go by like they're nothing. The only thing that I have found as a hack and a defense mechanism against the speeding of time is doing new things, and traveling is one of them. Like, this past year, even though it should have been in my mind the shortest year of my life, because percentage-wise it's the smallest compared to other years. It has felt huge, like I was back in school again, like that long, because I changed 6 countries. Things are changing at my work. I'm leaving this house in a few days in Italy. I'm going to England, then I'm going to Spain. So I love traveling for those 2 reasons. Number one is that feeling of a new chapter in your book. If you wanna have that metaphor, like a life as a book, it's like a new chapter. And number two, it makes life seem longer.
Yeah, I love that take, and I love that analogy of a book. Like it's a new chapter every time you visit a new place. There's so many things to explore. You're excited what's going to happen here, right? So I'm going to plunge into my very last question for you. After that, we'll have a quick rapid fire section. But before that, this is my last question. What is something that you know today that you wish you had known 5 years back?
Ooh, something that I know today that I wish I knew 5 years back. 5 years back, I would have been like 22, 23 is when I first started this. It would be to relax, do your thing, and you know who you are. Because I almost gave up many times, because especially like my parents and stuff, even though they're supportive parents, they did not understand anything. So what I would say is, what I know now that I did not know then, is that parents are just kids that grew up. Your parents are not right just because they're your parents. They're people. They have faults. They still, you know, when you're young, you think that adults are these mystical beings. They know everything. They have everything sorted out. And then you grow up and you're like, oh my God, my mother was just a kid that grew up, and my father the same. And they have like all these psychological problems that they never solved, and they married, and maybe they're not happy in the who knows like what's going on. They're just like me, but they grew up. So that's what I would say. Stop idolizing people, not just your parents, in general, adults, because adults know nothing. And even now, like I'm working with big businesses making millions of dollars and stuff like that, and I just see that they're people. They're people. That's what I would tell myself. Trust yourself, because no one knows what they're doing.
Yeah, I totally love this one, and a perfect note to end this one. So I'm going to quickly switch to the rapid fire section. So I will give you two options, and you have to pick one. I'll do 5 of these, right? First one, mountains or beaches?
Oh, easy. Beach, sea.
Okay. Product or marketing?
Marketing, 1,000%.
Okay. Speaking or writing?
I love both. Writing is more timeless, I think.
Creation or curation?
I don't believe in uniqueness, so I'm going to say curation.
Okay. Last one. Books or podcasts?
Books. And although I love podcasts, the reason I say books is because if I look back and I see, okay, what has impacted me the most? It has been podcast, yes, but mostly it's books. I don't know. I think it's something about reading something slowly that even though it might be simple, because the most profound things are simple, it makes the biggest impact. Books,
Right.
1,000%.
What does the future hold for Alex West? What are you planning to do next?
Nothing. I don't. And we were talking before, like with the bio, like building $1 million business. I don't care, man. I don't care about making $1 million. I'm everything I wanted to be, although it sounds corny. I don't want anything else. I just want to live my life stress free, be happy, and also develop other aspects of my life. Like have a healthy, relationship with your girlfriend, with your friends, with your family, with your sister, because you're so much more than a businessman. And I don't want to be the businessman. I want to be like a well-rounded human. So that's the future for me. Just live my life and be happy. That's it, really. Don't have any major aspirations or goals.
Perfect, perfect. I rarely have ever had any guest say that on the podcast, but I love that take, that satisfaction, that sense of enough. Okay, I have enough, I am enough. That is amazing. That is something that you can't buy for any amount of money, that you can't get however successful you get. There's always that next level you're chasing. But I love that you have found it right here.
Thank you,
All
man.
right, Alex, thank you for doing this. Yeah,
I was
go
just
ahead.
gonna say, I'm sorry, I think it's my fucking Italian internet. It's a bit slow, but I was just gonna say that thank you for that, and I do agree. And this happened because I sometimes we get lost in this little bubble that's called money Twitter and money YouTube and all these places on the internet where you take like anomalies, you take like small little fractional percentages of people that were either lucky or talented or both, and they make a lot of money, and you feel, oh my God, everyone is making all this money and I am not. There is a completely distorted view of reality. And what happened to me and really humbled me is I went to Athens, and I am from Greece. I don't know if you remember. And I went to Athens to see my best friend, and we were out like drinking and eating and stuff like that with friends and other people that some I knew, some I didn't know. And like we were talking, and they were making like the money I was making 4 years ago, like $500 per month. I'm like, man, how is it possible that I feel poor because I'm looking at all these people on Twitter, which is completely not reality? Even if you're making $2,000 or $1,000 doing your own thing, you are successful, and that's it. So yeah, after that, I remember before that I had big dreams, like a million or stuff like that. But after going to, like, I was so humbled, I felt embarrassed. I'm like, man, what are you thinking? Like, just live you're making enough. I don't need more money. I'm fine.
Right, right, right. And this comparison that we keep making all the time, wherever we go, whether it's social media, YouTube, consciously we're always comparing ourselves to others, how much money they are making, what clothes they are wearing, how
Yes.
are they speaking, how are they presenting themselves. We are always comparing ourselves. But to just recognize this, that you are enough, you have enough, and just to keep trying your best, that's all that is required, right?
Yes.
uh, I'm very glad that you did this episode with me, and this message will go out to many people out there. And they will also get this message that it's not all about the money, it's not about that race. It's about yourself and becoming a well rounded human. If you achieve that, you are successful, right?
Yes. Exactly.
All
And
right, great, Alex.
yeah.
Lastly, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say that, and I don't want to,
No, go ahead.
I don't want to sound either
Yeah.
like like okay, now that I'm making 300,000, I'm saying it's not about the money. No, uh, my quality of life is less than it was. Like honestly, like it's, I'm probably going to downscale if anything. Like it's not the most important factor, and that has to be said because we glorify money a lot in our society, and um, uh, I think we shouldn't as much.
Yeah, I totally agree. All right. The last thing I will ask you of is to just throw some links for our listeners,
Mhm.
so that wherever they can follow you, your journey, or your blog, your daily newsletter or monthly newsletter, whatever you want to plug, wherever people can reach you and your business, just put those links, and I'll make sure to put those links in the show notes below.
My Twitter is at Alex Westco, so Alex West CO, and my personal website is alexwest.co. And from there, you can find like my business and stuff like that. But yeah, those two mainly.
Great, Alex. It was great talking to you. I'll put both those links in the show notes below. And always great talking to you. It always feels like I'm talking to a brother when I'm talking to you. The last time I talked to you, you motivated me to do my own thing, go the no code way and all. And I'm
Hmm.
super glad that you have grown from that last meeting to this meeting. And I'm looking forward for you to grow into a better human being uh, when we
Yeah.
next meet, like you have this time. Thank you so much for doing this. And I hope you enjoy.
Likewise, I enjoyed it, and anytime you want me on, I'll come back on because this is not even stressful or anything. I feel like talking to a friend as well. So anytime you want, just call me.
Absolutely. Whenever I don't have a guest, I'm just going to call Alex and we're going to jam together.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right, Alex. Thank you, Alex. I'll just stop the recording.
Okay, fantastic.